It is my extreme pleasure to introduce our next speaker of the day, Dr. Karen Wolfe. She is an amazing woman, and those of you who know her know that. I've had the pleasure to get to know Karen over the last 4 years or so. She's a physician down in Australia. She's a wellness consultant, health consultant. She's an international speaker, and she's an author. But more than that, she's my dear friend. So it's my extreme pleasure to welcome back up on the stage, Dr. Karen Wolfe.
Well, hello. Woo-hoo. Good to be in Chicago. Well, this is a pretty exciting day. Some of you know why. Yeah. So, so let's just get straight to it because I feel a bit like I'm going to have a baby. It feels a bit like that. I'm giving birth. So I have two questions for you. Who believes that lifestyle impacts health? Oh, yeah. You heard about smoking and obesity. Okay, so I have another question for you if you can see all the hands. Who would like a way to specifically and easily explain how lifestyle affects health? Yes, how sleep and stress and sugar and digestive issues affect health. Well, I have a big surprise for you because that's exactly what I'm going to do. But better so, I have for you, my brand new book called Is Your Lifestyle Killing You? That's the title of the book. And I saw it for the first time this morning, hot off the press. Came off press last Friday and somehow found its way through Chicago O'Hare's problems in the last few days, and we found it last night. Yes, because it was a little dicey there. We weren't sure if we were going to find it. So we have it. Now, this is 30 years of my life work, at the beginning as a GP in Australia. Do we have any Australians here? Oh, that's good because you probably think I have an Australian accent, which I really don't have. So, and as a GP, some of you know my story. I was minding my own business in Australia, and I fell in love with an American man, which a lot of Australian women actually do. Just FYI, any single men out there, Australian women really like American men. And I fell in love and moved to the United States, and that was 21 years later. We've been married 21 years this year. Yes. And I want to give a big shout out to my beautiful daughter, Kelsey Grace Wolfe, who is in the audience today. And she goes to the University of Minnesota, a California girl that decided to have a different experience in Minnesota. And thank you to just my amazing team. I have a lot of my team here today to just celebrate this. Yes, it just feels like I'm entering a new, I believe we reinvent ourselves all the time. Do you believe that? And I was a GP, and then I was a speaker and a coach, and I keep reinventing. And that's what being in USANA allows me to do, is just keep creating new things. So what I want to do today is give you a little snapshot, because I don't have a lot of time, and I'm going to give you a little snippet through how you can explain why lifestyle creates dis-ease, and how you can use this model that I call the healthy lifestyle solution. It's a specific solution. It's a practical how-to with steps that you can take as you share this message with the world, because we are conduits of information, are we not? We're here to serve the world and to share the message that Dr. Wentz has gifted us with of creating health. And so it's up to us to take it out in the world. So I hope this model will help you yet again, in a new, refreshed way, share the message. So our hectic lifestyles create these diseases of civilization that I call killer lifestyles. And they create toxic waste that Brian was talking about, and dis-ease. And that's what we're in the business. That's why weight and disease is so closely linked. And one big message I have for you all, maybe one of the biggest messages I can give you, meet people where they're at. If people want to lose weight, go with them there. Don't necessarily talk to them about all the other things you can offer them, because you know how you can overwhelm people? So losing weight is a great first goal. I know that that's going to help their inflammation and their disease process. So see this little, cute little, let me see, work this little thing here. Oh, I want to, did you see that little, here it is. So when I was at the Sweet Retreat, I had a draft of this. This is the model you would use, and some of the people at the Sweet Retreat put this up as their iPad screen, so that when you speak to people, you could say, hey, look at all these lifestyle factors. Pick one. Which one would you like to work on? Sometimes it's sleep. Sometimes it's digestive disorders. Sometimes it's the food issue. Doesn't matter where they start, because it's all integrated. And when you start to make one change, do you notice how then it impacts everything else? Yes. So I love this model that we can start to help people decide where to begin. Because people are very confused. The nutrition world is very confusing for people. So we need to simplify it for them. So I want to outline for you what the problem is, and I know you all know the problem, but I'm going to put it in some words that maybe sound a little different than you've heard before. And maybe how I explain it will help you in how you explain it. And let's have a look at the problem. Of course, Dr. Christine Wood, who I absolutely adore, fancy us having our own pediatrician to help raise healthy babies. Or even before, of course, conception, to help that mother to be as healthy as possible. We overfed, undernourished, and inactive. And you've all heard, I'm sure, Dr. Wentz say that our children are the first generation that are not expected to outlive their parents. How could that be? Our children will die younger than we're expected to die with all the medical advances. Well, it's about lifestyle. We've got to get this right. And we cannot wait for government to make changes. We've got to do it ourselves. We've got to be the change that we're desiring in the world. And if you look at how we're dying, and I know you'll hear this over and over again at this symposium, it's cardiovascular disease, let's switch that back, it's cancer, it's diabetes of all kinds, and specifically type 2 is what I'm talking about. These are reversible conditions, all that can be dramatically affected by lifestyle. So let's have a look. I don't know why I'm just not working. There we go. Type 2 diabetes. It's my great passion to reverse the type 2 diabetes epidemic in our world. And yes, glad many of you are joining me in that. And I'm not just talking about the United States. Here we are in a company called USANA Health Sciences that is in 18 countries. This is a worldwide epidemic. We have the opportunity to make changes worldwide. When I was in medical school, and this is giving away my age a little bit, 1980s, 2% of type 2 diabetes were in children between 9 and 19. Then in the year 2000, that percentage increased to, I don't know why this clicker is just not, there we go. The year 2000, I think the battery's a little low. In 2000, that percentage increased to 30 to 50% of new cases of type 2 in children. And then in the year 2010, the next little slide, I'll have to get you to change the slides from the back, is 70% of new cases of type 2 were in children. 70%. So it's no longer adult onset. This type 2 diabetes is an epidemic in children as well. And we have an answer to this, do we not? Yes. We have a way to make those changes. So the price we are paying for these lifestyles we live, most people are asleep at the meal. They have no understanding. One of the things I would love to spend a day with you talking about is food is a drug. And it is the first line of treatment when we want to work on lifestyle. And that's usually what I recommend to people. Use food first. And then get the body biochemically shifted out of the sugar addictive phase, and then we can have a great conversation about some of the other lifestyle factors. Now, this slide kind of summarizes for you, and I would recommend you write some of this down, because this is the bottom line of why talking about lifestyle is so impactful for disease. So our lifestyle has created a chronic cellular deficiency, which you'll know that Brian talked about, the need. I loved his analogy of the manufacturing facility. You need all the good raw materials that then create a compromised immune system that create inflammation. So who's heard of inflammation? Okay, you wouldn't be sitting in this room if you hadn't heard of inflammation. And inflammation is the root cause of most chronic disease: arthritis, heart disease, diabetes, Alzheimer's disease. And here's a photo of an artery, and inflammation is affecting children as young as 9 years of age. In fact, the American Academy of Pediatrics is recommending that pediatricians measure the cholesterol levels of all children, because there's this belief still that cholesterol causes heart disease, and we know better, correct? Yes. Inflammation causes heart disease. So that's why Dr. Christine Wood is so vital to this whole story. We are doing this as much for the children and to shift the impact that lifestyle is having at these very young ages. The price we pay: glycemic stress, creating toxic waste, which is creating diabetes. So that's why the food plan is so important. And many of you know how I love to work with the food plan, because the progression of glycemic stress, which is high glycemic foods, leads to type 2 diabetes. And most people are told over here they have type 2 diabetes, but it's been going on for years and years and years because of the Pop-Tarts and the cereal and the bagels and the croissants that keep spiking up blood sugar. Now, I know many of you have seen me do this little explanation. The more you can hear it, the more then it'll be embedded as a habit, as Dr. Brian Dixon says, into your brain. So you can say it just like I am. I wasn't taught any of this in medical school. I don't want you to think this is exclusive to people that have some kind of health degree. I taught this, I learned what I'm sharing with you here pretty much in my last 8 years with USANA. USANA Health Sciences is the best nutrition training you can get. Yes. And you have it all at your fingertips. And this has made such an impact, as you'll see in my life and many of the people I have worked with. So what glycemic stress does, these are just a few things for you to memorize over and over in your head. Glycemic stress, high glycemic foods, damage the fine lining of arteries, which causes them to constrict. And when arteries constrict, and more pressure has to push the blood through the artery, right? That's called hypertension. Hypertension, blood pressure, created by inflammation. Number one cause: high blood sugar and high insulin. And, of course, the end result is inflammation. So there we go again. The price we pay: inflammation, inflammation. And I talk about it over and over and over in the book, but in a simple way, because no point, in my opinion, explaining things complicated when people don't get it, because ultimately we want people to change their lifestyle, don't we? So they have to get it, they have to understand it. So this is a little thing I made up. Typical orange juice and a bagel for breakfast. Say, ideal blood sugar when we wake up it goes. Then you see insulin, that hormone, brings the blood sugar down, all the way down. And then the body thinks it's too low. Blood sugar's too low, so stress. I better secrete cortisol, the stress hormone. Cortisol stores fat. So we have insulin and cortisol, both which are fat-inducing. And pretty much the standard American diet, and if I was in an Australian audience, I'd say the standard Australian diet, SAD, SAD, it's pretty much like this, all day. And nobody kind of realizes that food is a drug, and this up and down is affecting their brain, their concentration, their sleep patterns, everything. And we can do something about it. So I'm all about solutions. So if you don't recognize this, this is actually me before USANA and me now. Yes. So my big message is, do we not in this company say, walk your talk? Tell you what, when I was in medical school, they never told me about that. And you probably noticed, in medical school, it's such an interesting experience. One day I'll write a book about that, maybe, probably not. And how we just tell people what to do all the time, and then sometimes you look back at the person giving you advice and you think, huh? Why should I take that advice? Now, it's not that we have to be perfect, no, but it's about setting the intention to practice what you preach. Please don't think you've got to be looking just spiff and perfect to be sharing this message with people. All I ask is that you make the commitment to make the change in your life. And if today is the first day that you make the commitment, great. Don't let anything stop you. I'm just showing you this because it's transformative what this whole lifestyle does. So I'm going to take you through just a few little of each chapter has a section on each of these areas so that you can, first of all, understand what it is and then take action. It's what I call a very Australian book, which is just, let's just do it. Let's just get it done. Let's take action. Let's make change. So the food plan, of course, many of you know, the way that I like to start is with the food plan because food is a drug and it sets people up mentally, emotionally, physically to make the next change in their life. So stable blood sugar is the answer. Our body and brain need carbs. It's not about no carbs. I get people saying, oh, but there's so many carbs. Well, let's just get educated here about carbohydrates are good for the body. It's the type and the amount and the spiking that creates damage to the body. So that's why when we talk about the food plan, we have to do a little education usually first about glycemic index. So this is where I start, and I know many of you do too. Why? Because it's simple. People need simple solutions. It is structured so people don't have to think too much about, can I eat this, can I eat that? And it works. And after 5 days, people remove their sugar cravings. They learn about portion control. They learn about eating regularly. There's so much more to this little sugar detox than meets the eye. Do you not think? It teaches people. It gets them on a start. It's a jump start. And as you heard, we have had a huge reset challenge that started with this and then went for a whole 90-day period. And they lose the cravings, they lose the pounds, they find a new you, which is, okay, I'm ready for the next step. So maybe the next step is their gut. So the gut is a very important organ. And in fact, I have a little friend that I brought here today. Some of you have seen this. This is called Gutsy. That little bag. And here we have the esophagus, the top of the gut. Right? And this is the stomach, but it's really big just because you can see it. This is the exact size of your intestine. And most people don't realize how big this amazing organ is. And in fact, most of your immune system is in your intestine, and 80% of your serotonin. Serotonin, the feel-good neurotransmitter, many people on Prozac and Paxil, and that increases serotonin. If your gut is not healthy, your body cannot be healthy. No matter what nutrients you put in your body, you've got to be sure that the gut is working properly. And one way to tell is at this end, if you have fluffy floaties or stinky sinkies mean that the feces, the stool, the waste matter has been way too long and it's too hard to come out. And fluffy floaties mean there's lots of fiber and it's a smooth exit. In fact, it's recommended, now that we're talking about the gut, it's recommended that you have an evacuation after every meal. And most people, certainly in the United States, when I speak, come up to me and say, oh my gosh, I haven't had a bowel movement for 2-3 days. That's not unusual. We need to do something about that. So the great thing is, where do I put my gut? I'll put him up here. The great thing is, USANA has had the insight to realize how important digestive health is. So here is your gut. 2/3 of your immune system is in the gut. Most of your serotonin, 80 to 90%, is made in the gut. And you have a whole nervous system in your gut. So if the gut is not working properly, you will have emotional issues as well. And the other works. If you're stressed, it goes straight to your gut. So, one digestive health tips, take a probiotic. Probiotic is good bacteria. And of course, we have an answer for that. A multi-antioxidant, because the gut needs good nutrition. 20 to 30 grams of fiber. The average American has 4. Decreasing animal products because of the hormones, but it's good to have wild and organic. Of course, exercise is a great lymphatic pump. It gets the gut going. And lots of water. Dehydration is one of the big causes of gut dis-ease. And of course, your mind affects the gut. So when you have a stressed gut or an irritable bowel, it's like, what in my life is irritating me? I love talking about the gut. So very important tool. So the food plan, USANA solutions, and in the back of the book I have resources for those that want solutions. So I talk about what I've talked about so far in the front, and in the back are resources, the food plan, and of course digestive health, Fiber G, the probiotic, the digestive enzyme. Are we not lucky? We've got solutions. All right, moving right along, detoxification. All I have to say about detoxification is the Healthy Home Book. Yes? So the American Cancer Institute actually tells us that most cancers are caused by external factors. Sorry, little clicker. And I want you to see this slide, because this is really important. 80 to 90% of cancers are caused by external factors. So the Healthy Home Book, the Healthy Home Book, the Healthy Home Book. That's all I have to say about detoxification of the body. Get the book, get a book study, share the book, spread the message. It is the best book written about detoxification of your life. Who agrees with me? Thank you. It needs to get out there. There it is. And of course, under detoxification, we just happen to have a paraben-free, preservative-free personal care line. So we're not putting all those toxins in our skin, which is the largest organ of the body that takes in the toxins into the body. Okay, I'll just say it one more time. Are we not lucky? We're just not talking about it. We have solutions, big-time solutions. And then, of course, I do not have to talk to you about high-quality supplementation. We've already talked about that this morning. But we do need to educate people about, well, why USANA? Why are we moving from the recommended daily allowance, which is the scurvy prevention, to bionutrition, which is chronic degenerative disease? And in Pro Tools, in the bookstore, you'll be able to get your comparative guide. Who has that? The comparative guide to nutritional supplements. Yes, that is an essential tool to have. Okay, so the solution. I want to tell you in my wrap-up here that I can't do this alone. I've been gifted with many, many wonderful things in my life, and I feel like this is my giving back. This is my paying it forward, that I and all my experience can now hand it over to you to take it out into the world. We are a partnership. And it's the model of this business is relationships. So it might seem like, oh yeah, Karen's written a book and Karen's done this, but I haven't done this on my own. So first of all, an amazing person that has been through this program is Jennifer, before and Jennifer after. And is Jennifer's mother here? Jill. Is Jill here? Jill. There is Jill, Jennifer's mother, that heard what I had to say, shared it with her daughter, and made an impact on her daughter's life. Big, because that's what we do. And here's Vic. Vic, Illinois. Here's Vic before, here's Vic after. Woo! And I have even better. Vic, come on up here. Yeah. Yes! Proud of you. All right, here's Margaret. No, don't go away. You stay right up here. And here's Margaret, also Illinois, before Margaret after. She couldn't be with us today. Woo! Here's Brenda. Brenda's from Missouri. Brenda before, Brenda after. Come on up here, Brenda. Now, these people have made changes in their life, and they just happen to be now USANA associates because they saw the power of this work. And I think we have here, no, Patty. This is Patty before from Michigan. And look at Patty after. Woo! And Bob Bartolotti, if you would stand up. Bob is the one that made the changes in Patty's life. And if I would have Rosie stand up, Rosie Morris, who happens to be Vic's lovely wife. Vic was her guinea pig. when she started USANA. And Trevor, Rosie's son, Trevor, stand up here. Trevor is the illustrator of my book. Is this not a USANA family? It is so amazing. Makes me so happy. So, my message to you is, be the change in the world. Do not wait for anybody else. Go out and do it. Make the changes like we have had the pleasure here of enjoying, and take it out into the world. Don't let anyone stop you. Thank you for being here.